Hi everyone, this is Kelly Crane with Solo PR Pro, and I'm excited today because I have the opportunity to bring to you Jenny Schmidt, who is with CloudSpark. She's at CloudSpark on Twitter. And Jenny served as the chair of the PRSA Independent Counselor SIG here in Atlanta for how long did you do that, Jenny?
I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 years,
For
but
years,
wow,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So she is well known, certainly in the Georgia, as a big resource for those of us working independently. She gathered a lot of information and materials during the time that she was chair of that group. And of course, you have how many years have you been in business now?
This is my seventh year.
Yeah, so a veteran. And Jenny, I'm thrilled to once again co-author with her. We worked together on the Get It in Writing Contracts ebook, which is freely available, and we're also working on the new Show Me the Money series that's part of the Solo PR Pro premium site. And we just wanted to chat a little bit today about some of the most common mistakes that we see independent counselors make in setting their rates. And Jenny, I know for you, you are really big on the fact that a lot of times people don't pay attention to what they're going to spend in a year on their expenses related to their business.
A lot of what I saw was probably the most common question is I don't know what to charge, or I don't want to charge that much. I don't know what everyone is charging. But the
Mm-hmm.
better question of where people really needed to start, Kelly, is what does it cost to run your business? And so few independent counselors really take the time. And believe me, I'm not a numbers person. I did not like accounting in undergrad, but I had to take it. But understanding your expenses really gives you a better understanding so that you don't get into this, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to have my own business. And then you're working, enslaving hours upon hours, and you're not making any money. At the end of the month or at the end of the year, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted and I can't even go buy a decent pair of shoes, or pay the expenses that you have. So the
Mm-hmm.
most common uh, kind of starting point, I tell people, I say, well, you need to map out what your expenses are, and it's not just I have a laptop, some business cards, and a phone, and I'm good to go. As a PR professional, there's a lot more to running your business and to the expenses that kind of creep in and you don't think about, but that are there. And
Yeah.
so, that's this whole Show Me the Money series. It kind of gets us started so that we can take people who are very number savvy and very people who are number haters and get them started so that they really can understand from the business books what it looks like, what it costs to actually be a solo PR pro.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, they look at that hourly rate, and if they've been earning a salary, they think, wow, I'm going to be rich. And it can be definitely much more lucrative than working a regular job. But only if you go into it with your eyes open as far as what you're going to have to spend. So I definitely think that's one thing I learned from you, Jenny, as someone who is really looking at budgeting as important. That's something that a lot of people when they first start out aren't paying enough attention to.
And absolutely. And I think when I first started, I just knew I wanted to start working. And so I had, the first project opportunity came about, and I was like, oh, good. And they asked me what my rates were. And this is terrible to admit, I threw something out there without
Mm.
having been through the process and without having taken, I can admit that now, but that was a good learning point for me
Mm-hmm.
because it was a decent rate, but I wasn't covering my expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the project, it was a 90-day project. I was like, wow, I just worked a ton, and I don't really think I have any money from that. I think
Yeah.
and I put a lot of a lot of time into that, but I didn't really cover my expenses. And then I was like, okay, I need to go back, and I need to know what it's going to cost me to really do this business. And I think I had, I'd known some of my expenses, but I didn't know all of them. And having been through this, in my seventh year now, and you're in your 15th year, am I
I
right?
just celebrated 16
Awesome. Awesome.
years,
So
which
you
is
really
crazy.
learn, like, okay, I am going to have, client gift expenses. I'm going to have professional memberships. I'm going to have stamps. I'm going to have,
Mm-hmm.
printer and ink and paper and,
Mm-hmm.
my scanner, all those little things, a backup battery, backup drive for your laptop, which is incredibly valuable. Um, those things you don't think about, you don't really
Mm-hmm.
know about when you first start out, but when you've been through it a little bit. And so the good thing with the Show Me the Money series is we're really going to take people down to that kind of minutia, and it's a little bit of work, but I think it's the work that you need to do so that you're not like me at the end of your first project going, I didn't make any money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, I think a lot of people kind of start out that way, just an opportunity knocks and they say, oh, my first consulting gig, so you're certainly not alone in that. And I think that, another sort of common issue that I think happens to people is, that they maybe are a little intimidated to charge what the actual value that they're bringing to the client because
Right.
it sounds like a high number.
Right. And I see a
So,
lot of people apologizing for
mm-hmm,
their rate, almost sheepishly
mm-hmm,
apologizing. I see it more from women professionals, from female professionals than I do from male.
mm-hmm.
But I do think there's an issue of I'm a consultant and I want them to hire me, so let me make it affordable. But here's the thing that, and I've never had someone ask me to lower my rate, except for a nonprofit. But we do pro bono work, and I was like, you can apply, but I've never asked someone to lower my rate
Mm-hmm.
ever.
I don't
And
think I have either, actually. And I've told people, I'm sure you've seen this too, but in the past, like if someone asks you what your rate is and you tell them and they immediately go, okay, or they go,
yeah,
yes,
yes, you
it's
said
too
it too
low.
low.
There should at least be like that little beat where they think about it for a second. If they jumping right on it, there's usually a reason for that.
But here's the difference. So when we first came out of college, a million years ago, for you and I, we
Mm-hmm.
really didn't have the knowledge and expertise and understanding of the markets and understanding of the business that we do today. And I'm now, a ways into my career. Let's put it that way. I'm at the senior level of my career, as are you. And so the value I bring isn't just that I can write faster, I can understand your business more quickly. It's not just that, it's that they're getting senior level counsel straight away. And
Right.
that's valuable. I mean, what I bring to them is so much more than just their fulfillment. Yes, I'll write your press release, or yes, I'll help you with your social media campaign. It's more than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the understanding of what their broader business looks like and what their broader market looks like, and that's worth money.
Yeah,
That's
it's
not my.
the whole thing of getting paid not just for what you do but for what you know.
Yeah.
And even a less experienced public relations professional knows more about public relations than the CEO of the small business that's looking to hire them. So just because you don't have a huge portfolio yet, but you do know what you're doing, and you've been, maybe you've worked at an agency for a while, you've been exposed to a lot of different companies, that knowledge has value in the marketplace. So
It does. It's a big difference of. Yeah, I mean, it's just the difference. If you bring a skill set, it's like my CPA. Okay, years ago, I finally got smart and hired a CPA. Not that I couldn't do accounting myself. It's just that they did it better and faster. And it was one
right.
thing I didn't have to worry about. But I paid them for that expertise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's things like QuickBooks has a tax function, or you could do TurboTax, those kind of things. But I want someone who's going to work with me and my company at a different level than that. And I don't believe PR can be automated like a QuickBooks or something like that. So you
Mm-hmm.
need someone who has skills, and we've all seen the disasters of what happens when people who think they know PR, get into this business, and then they do something really disastrous, and that's the result for a business. But
Yeah.
from the rates, you've got to go back to the expenses, because
Yeah.
you've got to be covering these expenses. And when I started to list it out, when you and I were working on this book, and I was like, it's subscriptions. So, it's your media subscription, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not just your hardware that you're buying, every couple of years. It's those little, garage fees. I have one of my clients, every time I go, it's a $15 parking charge, every single time.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not going to charge them, in a direct expense form for that. I just work it into my rate. but I had to do that. I had to, put in garage fees. Living in an urban area, I had to put in garage parking fees as a line item expense.
Yeah.
Because it goes, that's a weekly expense that goes out the door.
Right.
We don't tend to think about those things. What I like about what we did in Show Me the Money is I think we've listed most things that we could think of, and I'm sure some folks, who read through it and work through the worksheet will be like, well, we need to add this, and that's good because we added some other categories too, but it's those little things you just don't think of.
But then I also liked your example of the CPA, because I think that is a perfect analogy really to what we as PR people do for a lot of businesses, because a CPA a good CPA will pay for themselves and then some. And the same is true for public relations, of course. So, if you're doing PR efforts that's, bringing thousands of dollars worth of business into your client, then of course you deserve to be paid a portion of that. So, that's something, I think, and you're right. I think a lot of us as women were raised to be people pleasers and that sort of thing. But really, and I know plenty of men who have these challenges as well, that when you go and you tell a potential client your rate, I mean, they're comparing you to all the other kinds of services that they pay for. And so usually it's not as excessive as you might think it is. Usually most people, I think, when they first start out are low. So if you sort of aim high, then you'll probably be in the range. But we're interested in obviously providing people with resources to take some of the guesswork out of it. But I think hopefully here today we've given folks a little bit of a pep talk, and
this is doable. This is completely doable. Even if you're a numbers hater, we have made this step by step easy.
Well, and one of the things that I was joking with someone about is, yes, maybe you totally hate the numbers, but once you see the potential for more money, that's a pretty good motivator.
Yeah.
It's like cha-ching.
And we've talked about this before, but the number one reason that small businesses fail is lack of cash flow. Mm-hmm. That is the number one reason that businesses fail, and it's the number one reason I see with as much as I've worked with independent counselors and solo PR pros, it's the number one reason why I see people leave is because they just couldn't make enough money. But it's usually from they didn't understand the expenses to start with, and then how to work that, how to compare that into the rates that they should charge for the value that they're providing. And so I think I just go back to this, and I wish I'd had this before my first project. But now, every year I kind of take myself through the budgeting process for my business. A, because it's smart, but B, because my expenses change every year, So, like this past year, I knew I was going to need all new hardware. I was going to need a new backup drive. I was going to need a new laptop. I was going to need a printer. Well, I won't need those in 2012. I'll need them in 2011. But I had to create a different budget year to year. So, and certain things go up, like Cision subscription. It's going up. Right. PR Newswire. It's going up.
Right.
So.
Well, and the more experience that you get, the more you're worth. So, I think, it's, let me just in closing say that, we aren't like money grubbing people. We're not, I think both of us really value, the quality of life that comes with being an independent PR practitioner above all else. But, it's the way to have long-term success in this business and be fairly compensated for it is to take this methodical approach. So I'm excited you're working with us on it, and really appreciate you taking a moment to chat with us today. Thanks, Jenny.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Allie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.